Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to our live session this week. How's everyone going? I hope that each one of you is doing great. It's Tuesday, 19th, September 19th. I feel like time flies sometimes, especially here in Bali. I don't know why. Um, Most of the times when we talk with my friends, it's like, yeah, time flies in here. And I don't know if it's something about the island and the whole scenario that we have around, but yeah, it definitely feels like it's flying more than going slow. So we are here once again, another week. I have to say, my friends, um, just so I can, put it out there and being honest. And because again, our theme most of the times in here when we're talking about hospitality and leadership, we are talking about human hospitality and human leadership. So, in honor to that, I want to share with you that I feel very tired, exhausted, and I know that this might be another topic for another day, nor for the topic of today, because today we're talking about mistake and turning mistake into opportunities. Uh, but the act of self awareness and self care when you have a business or in any case when you are working with people, when you are working giving to others and caring for others, and when you're choosing to go through the leadership path, we must not forget to take care about ourselves, because if we do not fill our cup first, we cannot fill other ones. And I must admit that for the past weeks, I've been overwhelmed with a lot of work, with a lot of creation, with a lot of reaching out um, to some people that was back weeks ago, reaching out and trying to, work with me. So for me, in order to have everything clear and everything organized, I needed to go back and check into so many things. And I felt this overwhelming at a certain point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this by myself. And this is just, I am just sharing it with you because, again, it is important that sometimes we just stop and breathe for some minutes and to kind of just pause to see what are the other options and possibilities of things that we can do. We don't need to do everything. We are not superhero heroes like in the movies. And we are not, like, again, we are human. So we need to be able to stop and analyze ourselves in the ways that we are gaining energy and in the ways that we are also draining our energy. And it's important for us to know when and how to do certain things. So this is just me ranting a little bit and and sharing with you how I'm feeling these days. Because again, there's a lot of work and I am so grateful and I am enjoying it so much. But then again, we all need to, or especially like right now, I'm talking about me. Like I definitely need to find ways that work better for me so that my energy is preserved so that I can use it properly. Worrying too much and also living in the future is something that I am working on right now. I am working on myself, on learning, on enjoying the moment and living in the moment. I think that's a major part that is going to support me also with those tools that I need to not be so stressed or so overwhelmed in a way, just thinking on all the to-do list, but rather just enjoying the process and also just organizing myself a little bit. So, okay, enough of all this ranting and telling you my life. It's been 5 minutes. I know that if you are watching this video, thank you so much for being here, but I know that you're not here to listen about me, or maybe yes. So just send me a message and let me know if you want to know more about what are some ways that I use and some tools that I use to focus, to re-engage and to reconnect with myself. And now it's time to talk about the theme of the day, which actually it has been the theme of the week. I've been sharing this on my social media. I've been talking about this with some of my clients and also some of my friends. And it's about mistakes, about how mistakes are part of our life. As human, of course, we all make mistakes. And not only that, but as much as we want to prevent them or avoid them, this is just, oh, wait, there's something that I have pressed. Okay. This is something that we cannot, right? It's something that we know it's going to happen. Mistakes are done by, yes, ourselves, but also our teams. If we are talking about leadership and if we're talking right now about also hospitality, mistakes happen in restaurants, mistakes happen in any kind, in at the workplace. And it is part of us, it is part of being human. And because again, we cannot prevent them, we can do our best to try to just learn how to turn them into opportunities. We can do our best to train ourselves and train our teams on how they can master the art of turning mistakes into opportunities, because then again, this is an art. When we face challenges or mistakes when we are working, let's talk in this case at restaurants, right? Like when we are facing mistakes, we have options. We can just, of course, we can acknowledge it and we can do something about it. We can also run away and, just hide and try not to solve them. But the fact, the actually the action that we take when we are making these mistakes is what defines what kind of business we are and how committed we are to delivering great hospitality and to taking care of our guests, customers, clients. Because if we do not address those mistakes, if we just leave them there, if we close our eyes, and if we decide that we do not want to do anything about them, then let me tell you that your business is doomed. Because again, I think all, even our customers as human beings, some of them are more flexible than others. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Like it's impossible, but they will understand if you make a mistake. The power that you have is turning those into opportunities, meaning that you have a responsibility in your business to not only be aware or not only understand that you have made a mistake, but it's your responsibility to move from that mistake that is part of your responsibility into a possible complaint that your guest is going to make if you don't do anything. And then again, of course, it depends on the mistake. There are different levels also of complaints that we need to learn how to handle them, but then it comes back to you in the recovery process. So the way that this works is that you need to be aware of what are the options and what are the opportunities that you have when you have made a mistake. You cannot just turn around and say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to act like crazy, or I'm just going to let it sleep. I, I'm just going to act like nothing happened. As a business owner, you cannot do that. And if you work in hospitality and if you have made a mistake, you cannot just let it go. There's an action that you need to take. And moreover, not only even an action, but most of the times you need to actually apply additional generosity, depending on the case, because you have made a mistake. So you need to be able to solve it. And then again, not only solve it, but recover it. So when we are talking about making mistakes, let's say that, again, if we go back to the restaurant, and then it's just that I'm thinking because actually in the past weeks, I experienced next to my friends a couple of different mistakes that some venues, some restaurants had in our tables during their service, right? I did share about one of those last week, and last Sunday I went with my friends for brunch, and a big mistake happened while we were having brunch. And then again, we all understand and we all know that mistakes can happen, right? It's about how you solve them and the way that they approach to us, the way that they talk to us, deal with it, the way that we were taken care of after that mistake was a clear sign that the place where we went is really committed to deliver great hospitality. Now, if we go to the mistake, it was, yeah, it was a big mistake, I would say, maybe probably like a medium level. I do have document, a graphic that I can share with you if you want. You can just DM me, where I have laid down all the kind of mistakes and complaints that you can have at a restaurant. And of course, this is very personalized because it depends on your place, right? But the most common ones and how you can divide them into different levels. You can have low level complaints, medium complaints, and high level complaints, right? So, seeing that this kind of document that I made through the years that I've been working in hospitality, I would say that this is a medium to high complaint. But again, the way that they solve it was perfect. Like, since that moment that happened, we were just not only acknowledged, but we were taken care of. They went beyond in, just making us feel seen, understood, heard. To me, there was this little tiny thing that they could probably, yeah, they could have done something else. But then again, this is my personal opinion. And because I work on this and this is my passion, and I always put myself in their shoes and on the way that I would handle this situation, then I would have done something else. But that doesn't mean that what they did was proper and was right, right? So, seeing how the short, just to tell you exactly what it was, we went to the brunch, we took some food, and there was something that my friend took from the buffet, and it didn't smell great. So immediately she was like, this smells kind of funny. And then I went and I smelled it, and yeah, it smelled kind of funny. And then we told the waitress, and it was actually, I think, the runner, and then the runner told the waitress. The waitress came and apologized, and not only that, but the supervisor came, the manager came, the chef came. They actually also changed our table into another table that was more comfortable because we were under the sun, and of course we're in Bali and it was very hot. So they moved all of our things, and they were checking on us very regularly. If I have to do a little parenthesis into that, I must say, and we did communicate that the food quality wise, we were expecting something more from this kind of place, but the way that we were taken care of was absolutely amazing. So we felt like, like queens, to say it in a way, in the place. And regardless of that mistake, of that little thing that happened, they offered to bring something new and more food and everything. So the action, the recovery action, was actually assertive. And they took the feedback very well. They did something about it immediately too, which is again something that you need to do in the process of recovering a guest. And again, to me, the following up part was missing, meaning after that, because you can always give the additional generosity, right? That's something that to me was missing, but they managed properly, to say it in a way. So if we go back to how do we turn mistakes into opportunities, how do we master this art of hospitality, because it's an art, right? How do we recover a guest the best way? First of all, it starts with your awareness. And this is a framework that I shared already before, that is a framework from Danny Meyer. And he says that there's 5 A's when you are talking about recovering a guest. And if we walk through those 5 A's, it's a beautiful framework that anyone can use. So you start with awareness, awareness of the problem, awareness of the mistake, which I have seen, and I think, my friend, if you work in hospitality, in the place that you work, or in the place, or in any place that you have been, you have seen this, that sometimes when a restaurant, a hotel, a beach club, whatever, a place makes a mistake, sometimes they do not realize that they have made a mistake. So awareness is the first thing that needs to appear in this framework. You need to be aware that you have made a mistake and actually identify what has been the mistake, right? Then awareness is also um, it also exists when we're talking about situation, because what happens, my friend, is that sometimes when we make mistakes, yes, we can be aware because someone has said something, let's say that the food was late or that the food was smelling funny, but also you need to be able to read your customer, you need to be able to read your guests, and be aware of the situation, be aware of what's happening around. So that takes practice, and that takes, of course, training your team to be able to see what are those cues that are non-verbal, what are some of those cues that a guest can show you, that a guest can communicate without words. And that's on the way that they are just sitting on the table, or the way that the face look, or the way that they are looking around. Again, this comes with practice. So it is important that not only you are aware of the mistake, but you're also aware of the situation and what's happening. Because again, if there's a mistake and someone tells you something and then they say, oh yeah, it's fine, it's okay, no worries, but then you see and you're aware that the body language and the whole way that they are acting shows you something else, something different, then you need to be taking a different action. Do not think that because they just say that nothing is happening, nothing is happening. It is. So again, situational awareness is very important, and you need to practice how to get that. So once you have this awareness of what's happening, you need to acknowledge your mistake. So in this case, it means that, oh yes, they realized that the food was smelling funny, or that a certain dish was taking a longer time. So no, you acknowledge that you have made a mistake, and then you apologize. That's the third A. You have the awareness, you acknowledge it, and then you ask for an apology, right? You say, you're sorry. Um, this apology needs to be sincere and needs to come from your heart. And the way that you express it needs to definitely show that you are sorry, that you apologize from your heart. And it needs to show more than in words that you are actually going to make something about it. It's not just about saying I'm sorry, it's more than that. But that's the third thing that you need to do. You need to apologize for the mistake that you have made. Then, immediately after that, what comes is the action. What is the action that you are going to take? Now, your venue, your place, your restaurant might have some standards or might have some guidelines on what you can do depending on the mistake or, let's say, complaint that you have, right? But just remember that each one of the cases are unique. So as much as you have certain things, like, let's say, okay, if it took a long time for us to deliver food, we're going to make them a discount, or we're going to invite them dessert or coffee, or if you have something settled for that, just remember that not every case is the same. So the action needs to be tied to the awareness of the situation and the awareness of the mistake that you have committed at that point. So it does help 100% that you have, you know, these guidelines. I'm not saying that it's not helpful. It's going to help you, your team, your business to have guidelines on where to follow depending on which kind of mistake or which kind of complaint you have. But then again, each one of these cases need to be treated in a unique way and in a personalized way, because not everyone is the same. So you can always follow those standards and those guidelines, but never forget that you always need to add up a little bit of an additional thing, because you are aware of the current situation that is happening. You are aware of that moment, those people. So you cannot just copy paste a solution. You can have guidelines, but you cannot copy paste. That's not hospitality. When we are delivering hospitality, especially when we are recovering a guest, we need to make things unique and special. So remember that when you're taking action, again, you can follow guidelines, but always be aware of the situation, of the current situation that you have. And then once you have act on that mistake, this was the fourth A. You have the awareness of the mistake, you have acknowledged that you have made a mistake, you have apologized for that mistake. Now you're taking action for that mistake. The final one is applying additional generosity. And this last part most of the places, most of the businesses, most of the owners, managers, supervisors, most of the people that work in hospitality forget about this last A, which is applying something else, going above and beyond, offering that unexpected thing, something that, you know, if you receive that, is just going to turn the whole experience around. When you apply that additional generosity, that's when you are turning that mistake into an opportunity. That's when your guest is going to remember you for the way that you recover it, for the way that you are shining instead of the mistake that you made. That's the way. So, additional generosity looks like going the extra mile. And once again, this depends on your own business, depends on your own restaurant, cafe, beach club, wherever you're working on your own business. This is something that you all need to be aware of as a team, and that actually by doing something that has helped teams, or the way that I do it with teams, is doing a brainstorming session or a creativity session. And when we do this, we talk to the teams that are frontline, and we come up with different ideas on how you can apply additional generosity, right? So we go through this, and then again, you can take action on these guidelines and on the basic things of discounts and that. But the additional generosity comes from creativity and comes from something special that your guest has never seen. And that's what transformed the whole idea of making mistakes. Now, having these brainstorm sessions with your teams definitely help on finding new ways of providing additional generosity. And that's the thing. Some businesses, just because they do not invest time on engaging with their teams, on actually making them part of the process, because they don't do that, they forget or they don't even apply this additional generosity. And that's what I'm saying. There exactly is where you have the opportunity of, you know, mastering those mistakes. So I want you to remember that, again, all of these takes practice. It's not something that is going to happen from one day to another, or that you say, okay, today this is what I'm going to do. It takes time, it takes practice, and it takes a whole village, meaning it takes teamwork. It takes you as an owner or as a manager or as a supervisor to take and invest your time in doing this kind of work with your teams. The people that you are working with, those are the best people that can tell you what your business need and what your guests, the people that you serve, need, because they are there, they are frontline, they are going through this every single day. So you need to involve them. You need to work with your team. Sorry, everything is falling apart. You need to work with your team to be able to find new solutions, find creative ways of applying additional generosity, and finding new ways of acting when you're making mistakes. Because again, do not forget, you cannot prevent mistake. You can do your best to be perfect, but something always can happen. So involve your team in looking for new creative ways of applying additional generosity. That's the last step that most of the times businesses forget about. They are aware of a mistake, they say are sorry, they offer something, they acknowledge it, but they forget about applying additional generosity. And that's really tied to providing great hospitality. Then again, if you need support with creating these workshops with your team, where you can brainstorm, where you can get amazing unique ideas for your business, DM me, send me a private message, or send me an email. You have all my contacts right here in the comments. I'll be more than happy to join your team. Bring me in to your place, and I'll be more than happy to support you in finding the best ways for your team to provide this additional generosity and to provide great hospitality to your guests. I understand that sometimes it's difficult to get there, and sometimes it's even difficult, especially when we're living in Bali, right? When we come from a different country with a different mindset and a different perspective, it is quite challenging to work with teams with a different culture and knowledge. And I've been here for over 5 years. I understand how team works. I know because I've been down that path, and I've kind of suffered trying to, in the beginning, put like trying to push the ways that I wanted, finally to understand that that's not how it works. We all need to work together as a team. And especially again here in Bali, if you're watching this in Bali or in anywhere in Asia, bring me in and I'll be happy to work with your teams to create fun, engaging, actionable workshops or talks where we can learn, in this case, as we are talking today, on how you can master your mistakes so that you can turn them in opportunities for you, for your team, for your guests, for your business. So please reach out. Online sessions are also available, but only limited spots. So DM me, contact me, and I truly hope that you can use this framework. I am giving it to you. You can use it, you can practice it. But if you need some support, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, and I'm ready to go with you and co create something beautiful for your business. Use them. Remember those 5 A's to tackle those mistakes. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next week for another live session. Have a beautiful day, night, wherever you are in the world. Ciao.